Hello everyone, today I'm going to be reacting to some creepy TikTok facts as well as some creepy stories, so let's begin.
Bizarre historical facts that school didn't teach you. During World War II, Russia trained dogs to carry bombs and run underneath enemy tanks to blow them up. But when they tested it out, the dogs accidentally ran underneath the Russian tanks instead.
Aww, the poor dogs.
During the Civil War, a man was shot just below his eye and miraculously survived. And 58 years later, he coughed up the bullet. A Russian scientist in the 1920s tried to create a human-chimpanzee hybrid, but he was ultimately unsuccessful. And Thomas Edison electrocuted a circus elephant to death after it killed 3 people. Thousands of people came to watch him do it, and it was a live performance.
Oh my gosh, why do most of these have something to do with killing or harming animals?
Have you ever heard the sad stories of the missing milk carton kids? Back in the 80s, missing kids' faces started to appear on milk cartons all over the US. They thought this would be the most effective because people used milk on the daily. Eaton Patz was the first child to appear on the side of a milk carton. He disappeared in Manhattan in 1979 when he walked to the school bus stop alone for the first time. And although the bus was only 2 blocks from his house, he never boarded it, and he was 6 years old at the time. Then there was Johnny Gosch, who went missing on his usual paper run on September 5th, 1982. His parents realized something was wrong quite early on after receiving calls from neighbors that their newspapers were late. And despite his delivery wagon being found less than 2 blocks away from his house, he was never found. I go into way more details on these cases on my YouTube channel, and I also talked about more missing milk carton kids. But they stopped putting faces on milk cartons once Amber Alerts were a thing.
Is it just me, or are these like more scary than a missing person poster? Because it just has like so much eeriness because it's a milk carton that you're gonna see every day and it has a missing person on it. And I mean, that's obviously the point, but it's just kind of creepy to think about every morning. Okay, so this person purchased a Victorian era house. Ooh, very cheap, very cool. Oh, it's really pretty too. I love these type of houses. It honestly seems like really cool to explore. I mean, I don't know if I'd want to live in one, but whoa. Oh, that is a cool door knocker. But it's cool that, like, seems intact. Like, no one's been there. It's like a museum. I mean, that probably is creepy, but... Wow. Okay, this is really cool. Oh, yeah, definitely. They have some weird light switches. Interesting tile, like most houses, of course. I mean, this is honestly really cool. I wish I could, like, get one of them, but not live in it, you know?
Real life monsters caught on camera, part 13. So these people filming in a forest come across a person tied to a tree when a blink and you'll miss it monster shows up randomly. Next we have this video of these people coming across a creepy humanoid creature in a tree with glowing eyes, and it creeps me out, I hate it. Finally there's this video filmed in Mexico of some creepy hairless creature in a cage.
I hate to break it to you, this person, but that kind of looks like a bear or a dog. Like, I don't really see any creepy monster in that.
Warning, this is why you should not touch an old house. A woman recently bought an old house in a very remote area. She wanted to renovate the home, and very quickly she began tearing down the kitchen and ripping all the old wallpaper off. She claimed the wallpaper was extremely satisfying to rip off, like scabs of a sunburn. Very quickly she noticed names and dates in places she was removing the wallpaper. One night she was curious and spent hours googling one of the names. She discovered they were missing people, and the dates they went missing matched what was written on the wall. She called the police, and when they arrived they said, "Yep, it's human. What you were removing from the walls was not wallpaper."
First off, I don't watch anime, but this drawing is really cool. I feel like if something was skin, I don't know, just kind of like you'd get some type of feeling. Also, this reminds me of the yellow wallpaper, if anyone knows what that is. It's like a short story.
What's something you learned that made you question everything? Stitch this with your response, but I'll go first. Have you ever heard of the terror management theory? Basically, the terror management theory proposes that human beings are fundamentally terrified of the inevitability and unpredictability of death. And this fear is in constant conflict with our self-preservation instincts. So what does that mean? It means that the majority of what we do and the majority of what we believe is either to escape from the terror of death or prevent our own death. Okay, why do you work at that job that you hate so much? Because it pays for your rent and your clothes and your food and your water and all the things that you need so you don't die. Why do we believe in religion? Because the thought of dying without a beautiful afterlife is horrible. It's kind of depressing when you really think about it.
I mean, obviously this makes sense, I guess, because really the whole goal of living is to survive, so, also, yeah, giving anyone an existential crisis.
This is what bleeding to death would feel like. The process can take hours, but it can transpire in haste, causing death in minutes. At onset, you may not be aware that something's awry if you're bleeding internally. You might notice that you're especially thirsty or winded. As the bleeding continues, your body sounds several alarms. Your heart rate will grow rapid and neurotic while standing. Your body will go numb and tingle. Your head will begin to pound with heavy pressure. Once you near the point of hypovolemic shock, you'll see a ghostly pallor in the mirror. Your chest, throat, and head will feel internally hot. The ground will magnetically pull you down. You will begin to violently tremble and become flushed with the kind of weakness that will make you want to rest your head forever. Your tongue will feel swollen and bone dry, making it difficult to swallow. Your vision will be distorted by floaters and auras, or may go out entirely. You'll be drenched in icy sweat, and you may feel like you're about to vomit up your heart. You will know that you're dying. Dizziness will transcend your clarity, and you will fade into darkness.
If you guys start to feel the symptoms of the things this person explained, don't worry, I did it too. I mean, most likely that's what's happening, but you never know. Also, I'm not trying to scare anyone, I just don't want to get sued, even though obviously I wouldn't, so yeah.
This is the story of the cult known as Heaven's Gate. Heaven's Gate was a cult led by a religious leader named Marshall Applewhite, who survived a near-death experience in 1972 and was recruited into Heaven's Gate by one of his nurses named Bonnie Lou Nettles. In 1975, Marshall Applewhite actually took over Heaven's Gate and convinced over 20 people to move from their homes and their families in Oregon and come live in Eastern California with all of the cult members. The members of Heaven's Gate were promised that once they died, they would board an extraterrestrial spacecraft in which they would be taken to the kingdom of heaven, and they were explained by the cult leaders that their bodies on Earth were merely just containers and shells, and they could be abandoned at any time. So after many years of recruiting, Marshall Applewhite and 38 other members of the cult actually drank a mixture of phenobarbital and vodka and committed suicide hoping to board the alien spacecraft.
I remember when my mom told me this story, but I remember like she had told me this story where they were all drinking poison and everyone died, which is like really weird to think that like everyone just died and you had to get rid of all the bodies there. Like, I don't know, that's so creepy.
This is why you should stop driving in the middle of the night. What happens at the end will shock you. 27-year-old Alyssa Green was headed to her work at 11 p.m. and ended up taking the wrong turn. She was now in an obscure road with no cars around, and halfway through, she saw a pale man standing there. He was staring straight at her, and when she passed him and looked back, the man was still staring at her through the side mirror. Her curiosity grew, and she wanted to see their back. So she kept going on this road every single day. One day, feeling out of control and insane, she finally got the back of this pale man. But seconds later, she bumped into a tree and died.
I'm sorry, but like at least bring a friend with you if you're going to go night after night to see some weird shadowy figure. Like, come on. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and thank you so much for watching. Bye!